What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Up Tempo Podcast. I'm Dustin Smith, joined by my guy Blake Lane, and we're coming at you tonight from a balmy Gulf Coast region of the United States. I don't know how it is over there in Mobile, Blake, but it's 103 is the heat index here, brother. It's hot. It's hot. Just like this national media narrative about our Auburn Tigers, dude. A
Mhm.
lot of people talking noise, Blake, and that's what we're in here to talk about tonight, man. You got a lot of stuff going on. We've a lot of stuff behind the scenes on this podcast all week. Little Levi's on the way, man. About a
Yeah.
month away, dude. How you doing
Yep.
tonight, brother?
Man, we're doing good. The vibes are super positive.
Yeah, man.
Friday we did the little sneak a peek 4D imaging, so we got to see Levi
Mm.
for the first time. That was really special. We've been sitting around watching a lot of college baseball. I know yesterday I went over to my boy DG's and he's got the pool set up, the basketball goal and everything in the pool, and then we had the crawfish and then the TV with the College World Series and everything. That series has been magical. But this weather, dude, I played golf yesterday morning, and our tee time was at 7:30, and at 7:36,
Yeah.
my shirt was soaking wet. All right, it's been rough, brother, but I've had a great weekend. Uh, Obviously, like you said, we're here to talk about some of this nonsense. I think I don't want to be called a homer or whatever, but I wear the orange and blue goggles, and to see this ESPN FPI and they're predicting a 5-7 season, Potato Head isn't here anymore. I just think Hugh's better than that. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. We're what 10 Saturdays away.
Yeah, man.
I
10,
mean, it,
69 days if you're counting.
yeah, 60. I know you got the tracker. You sent it to me the other day. You got the tracker, man. So, yeah, Dustin, I'm excited. I'm excited for
Mhm.
the new era, like we've talked about with Hugh Freeze and just the excitement that we had in the transfer portal,
Yeah.
just basically flipping a roster. And we'll get into it, but I think that is some of the things why Auburn isn't getting a whole lot of love from the national media is because of the roster they had last year, and they're also waiting to see can Hugh flip that roster and what can be done with this new roster. You feel me? Uh, I
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's some question marks. So
Mhm.
that's kind of my view on it there.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's not a crazy concept to say Auburn's not going to have a good season. But I'll just start right here, man, because this one to me is kind of like there's just some contradictions in some of
Mhm.
these things, right? And and I understand. I've been very vocal about we've lost at least 4 games every season since 2013. We've the last 3 years have been we've had the first back-to-back losing seasons in forever. The last
Mhm.
3 years have been the worst 3 year stretch. Just me and you've been around.
Yep.
Um, probably going back to before Pat Dye took over. I mean, what we saw the last 3 years is Barfield territory, and I wasn't alive for Barfield, but damn it, the people that were still talk about it. So that's how I know it was bad.
Yep.
The way that when I'm 70, I'll be telling some young Auburn fan, "You didn't see Mr. Potato Head, though, my dog. You didn't see him, but you think this is
Yeah.
bad. Let me tell you about an afternoon where Penn State came to town."
Yeah.
So that's just how bad it's been, man. As bad as it's been in a very long time. So I understand people looking at it with some doubt. But here's where I was in Winn-Dixie and I picked up Athlon because the magazines are right there. And a sweet lady decided she was going to run all 17 of her lotto tickets. So I had some time to kill. And I picked up the Athlon magazine and I read it. And I'll just they had us 14th in the SEC, obviously last in the West. And their final analysis is kind of what got me. And I'm going to read it to you. I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
Mhm.
But it says the SEC West is brutal, but expect a much improved Auburn team under first year head coach Hugh Freeze. Auburn's transfer portal ranks them most one of the best in the nation. It mentions the defense being a question mark. It calls the secondary solid. It says that the run defense is a big question mark, which I co-sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
My biggest worry as well. The run defense,
Absolutely.
depth on the D line, rushing the passer, those kind of things. I feel like we got a little bit better at linebacker. But here's my thing with this. So you say we're going to finish seventh in the West, last in the SEC, but you say that maybe we're 13th, maybe they have Vandy behind us. But you're saying that You expect a much improved Auburn team
Mhm.
under Hugh Freeze. You say much improved, and you acknowledge that it's one of the best transfer portal hauls in the country. Okay. Well, we went 5-7 last year with nothing working together, no cohesion,
Mhm.
and we were a couple plays away. Mississippi State thought we looked pretty good up until whatever that Keontae Scott on the punt return call was in Tuscaloosa that just kind of
Mhm.
let the air out the bag at that point for us.
Mhm.
We were just in some games, man. The LSU game. LSU had a good team last year. We
They
decided to actually run an offense that matched Robbie Ashford's skill set in the first
Yep.
half, and in the second half, we didn't. But that's
Mhm.
a game we gave away. So if you're saying we're much improved, what do you consider much improved? Because we finished 5-7 last year. So if we're much improved, is much improved to Athlon 2 games? Do you think you finished last in the SEC West at 7-5? I don't, Blake.
No. No, no, not at all. And like you brought up LSU. They were the SEC West champions,
Mhm.
and Auburn should have beaten LSU last year. And you didn't win that game, like you said, you didn't win the Mississippi State game. But I think that has a lot to do, obviously with who your head coach was.
Mhm.
The Mississippi State week was the firing of Potato Head,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call him, whatever you
Mhm.
like to call him. I like to call him Potato Head. And Cadillac had what, 3 days to get a team ready to play
Yeah,
football?
they fired him on Monday. I thought they kinda did that to fire him right there by his birthday. Just
Yeah. I mean, so Cadillac literally walked into Starkville, limping.
Mhm.
So, and you had an
Skeleton staff.
yeah, offensive line coach was calling plays. So,
Yeah. In
I
his
mean,
bag, baby, in his bag.
yeah, it was, tough. So I listened to this, Dustin, and everything you're saying, and if I hear a much improved Auburn team, all right, I don't. I look over here and I see 5-7. With the ESPN
Right.
FPI, 247. I can kind of rock with.
Mhm.
I can rock with 247. The PFF thing we'll get into in a minute. And like you mentioned just a second ago, with being 13th and 14th, uh, the power rankings, that's where they have Auburn. That's just absolutely insane to me, especially when I look at it. And you got the Florida Gators sitting at number 7. All right, we'll talk about it. And then JD Piquel over at On Three, he has Auburn at 6-6. And if I hear much improved Auburn team, uh, I'm looking. I'm looking at an 8-win Auburn team.
Right.
That's what's sitting with me right now. Is when I look at Auburn's schedule, I look at what Auburn brought in through the transfer portal, Dustin, like that magazine just mentioned. All right. Auburn had arguably the top ranked transfer portal class this year. Okay. So, and I said arguably. So if you're a Colorado fan or whatever, you know, it is what it is. All right. There's all different kind of sites and everything like that. But I believe Auburn had the best class. That's just me. Like I said, I wear orange and blue goggles. But I look at the quarterback position. You've upgraded. Like I said, some people might not agree. I think you've upgraded. All right. Offensive line, you've upgraded. All right.
Mm, yeah.
Your secondary, they say solid. I think your secondary
Yeah.
is going to be the best position group on this roster. The running back room is going to be absolutely filthy. Uh, Jarquez Hunter, expect a big, big year from him. I think 27 is going to carry the load for this football team, and you're going to win a lot of games on 27's back.
Hmm.
I think, like you said, the one question mark on this team is defensive line. All right. Up front, in the trenches, like I said, uh, offensive line, I think you improved. Defensive line, I want to see if Auburn can stop the run, Dustin. Where were we at last year in the run game?
I know that
97?
we yeah, 97. I know we gave up like 172, 178, the number something like that a game.
Yeah, 97th rush defense in the country
Mhm.
last year. I believe it was 97. Could give or take a couple. But then I also think third down conversions. All right, defensively, we were at 105 last year. All right. 105th in the nation on getting off the field on third down, bro. I mean, it's bad. All
Lack
right.
of pass rush.
Lack of pass rush. So that is my biggest concern for this team. But I look at the schedule once again, Dustin, and I sit here and say, man, PFF has us. That they got us losing to Cal. ESPN FPI has us as a 66% chance to lose to Cal on the road. ESPN FPI has given us like a 76 to 78% chance to lose to Texas A&M. Boy, I tell you, if we lose both of them games, they could be right. But
Yeah.
I'm on the side of us winning both of them games. And I think this Auburn roster is good enough to go 8-4 and possibly 9-4 with a bowl win, Dustin.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And like you said, you look at the schedule. You mentioned Florida being at number 7. Our guys at War Report, they talked about this today as well. And B Will went in on look at Florida's schedule. So it's like, what is your criteria here? And we broke down the schedule a couple weeks ago, and man, there's that 3-week stretch of A&M, Georgia, and LSU. Man, before that's pretty manageable, and after that's pretty manageable.
Yes.
It really is. And if I look at it just preseason wise, and I say, let's just look at talent alone, there are 3 teams that if we just getting off the bus are more talented than us on our schedule. A&M, well, 4. A&M, and how much is it A&M, right? But just because their recruiting classes have been a little bit, you know what I'm saying? They got some, like, talented wise, I think they're more talented than us. But has that talent been developed? All that kind of, there's a lot of questions there. So that's close. But
Yeah.
LSU, Georgia, and Bama.
Mm-hmm.
What about the 8 other games?
Yeah.
And like I said, the A&M one's close. What about the 8 other games? And look up our record historically at A&M. You're going to say, what do you say, 78% chance to lose at A&M?
Yeah.
I might say 55 to 60 if I was putting something like that out there, just based off of what we know right now. But like, and as I say that, I'm like, damn, that's kind of high actually. Like, I don't know with A&M, man. I mean, it's Bobby Petrino or bust for A&M. If this doesn't work, they're paying $90 million to let a guy go. And by the way, Pro Jimmy Rain podcast, to the people out there that hate on our boosters. And I will say they've wrote some stupid deals. Gus Malzahn's getting paid right now. Brian Harson's out here talking about how you need to work out if you're going to be a good coach to improve your team, and out here retweeting that he didn't have a line and all the stuff that he's doing, but he's cashing that Auburn paycheck, ain't he? We're paying 3 head coaches right now. So I'm not saying that like it's been all great, but that is a booster disaster. Whoever wrote that contract, there needs to be some answers, because I mean, Stephen Lake, he got cut pretty quick, right? With some of his, like, we didn't play. So whatever's going on at A&M there, I feel like their booster culture is one that needs to be talked about. But yeah, dude, there's 8 other teams that I mean, the second tier is what? Ole Miss that we get at home, getting off the bus. I think we're more talented than Ole Miss. At the very least, it's 50-50 now. It's 50-50 now. Like, this is it, because when you sign 20-something portal players, I think people get lost in the shuffle. And I'll give you an example. Rivaldo Fairweather going to be a game changer, dude.
Yep.
But we signed him so early that he's been forgotten. It's been forgotten that he was the most sought-after tight end in the portal. We added a lot of guys like that, man. Like, and we still went 5-7 because the energy at Jordan-Hare Stadium is so powerful that it accounts for points. It can get you wins. It in itself can keep you in a game. You just have to have a decent team to put on the field, and you can steal a game in that stadium. To say 5-7, to sit here and say this team's going to be much improved, yet I still think you're going to finish last in the division. I just think a lot of it is national media that is detached from what is going on. Because if you listen to a lot of these national media guys talk about Auburn, the storylines don't matter. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there saying that we got spurned by Lane Kiffin and settled for Hugh Freeze. That's a national storyline. If you know, that's not the truth. That's not what happened.
Dustin, do you think they try to and I'm not saying this as like a Homer Auburn fan, I'm just saying, do you think the national media pounds Auburn to even lift Alabama even more than what they already are?
Whether it's conscious or not, they do. Like maybe they don't sit down to write their articles or record their shows to do that, but like subconsciously they're doing it. And I
Mhm.
know that probably sounds ridiculous, but it's like, man, I don't. You're just not given, and this is even when we're good. Like you're just not given the credit fully to where it goes here. Like this right here, man. This just tells me you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. Who came up? What metric are you using that tells you that we're basically a 67% chance of losing at Cal? What metric? How do you come up with that?
Mhm.
What's the equation that gets you to that? That's what I want to know.
Because
Because what did
if
they do last year? 5-7?
exactly, so if anything, it's a 50-50
What am I
because
talking about?
they were 5-7, we were 5-7. If anything, I think even though it is on the road at a 9:30 p.m. kickoff, we had way more talent brought in than what
Right.
they had. All right. And just the physical presence in the trenches against
Mm-hmm.
Cal and with Jarquez Hunter is going to run for 200 yards against Cal.
Right.
Okay. I'm
Justin
just,
Rogers, Jason Jones. Oh,
yeah, they're gonna feast. All right. But Jarquez is going to run for 200 yards against Cal. You can
mm-hmm.
get ready. You can put it down. If he goes out to Berkeley, it's happening.
Right.
I hate it if you're a Cal fan. It's going to be miserable to watch. What's also going to be miserable is when Auburn floods your stadium and fills it out more than you do.
That's my
Okay.
point. Is it a home game for you guys? I guarantee you there's going to be more orange than yellow.
And when I see ESPN FPI 5-7, Dustin, when I see that, I see them. They're saying we're going to lose to Ole Miss. It's like an 80-something% chance they've got us losing to Arkansas.
Right.
Just so here's my thing. Here's my thing with Arkansas and Ole Miss. You know why they have us losing those games? Because they're expecting Auburn not to stop the run. All right. Who does Ole Miss have? He had a field day against us. We know
Yeah.
about him. He should be an Auburn Tiger, but Judkins had a field day on us last year. Okay. And I think they're kind of expecting that to happen again. They're expecting for Ole Miss to run the football down Auburn's throat. So they're saying, hey, that's a loss. Then they're expecting you go to Arkansas. You're not going to win there. It's on the road. They have KJ Jefferson coming back, and they also have Rocket Sanders coming back. They're expecting Arkansas to run it down our throat. So that is why the defensive line and the front seven is the biggest concern to me, because if that group, if that linebacking group and that D line puts it together, and they're better than what this national media thinks, Dustin, those are 2 dubs. All right. And I just can't see you losing. I'm just not on the Texas A&M is good train. I'm sorry.
I hear
I'm
you.
gonna
You're
I'm
out.
gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna come out and say it. I'm just not on that train, man. I don't care who they hired at offensive coordinator. I don't believe in Jimbo Fisher. I think if they lose to Miami before they play Auburn, I think his ass is in serious
Ooh.
trouble. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if they lose, Dustin,
It'd be noisy.
the chatter is going to start. All right. What did they play in week 2, and then they play us week 4?
Yeah, 2 or 3. I mean, right there.
Where did they play in Miami? Or I don't,
They're gonna be going to Miami this year. There will be more
boy.
A&M fans because I mean that's not gonna make a whole lot because Miami doesn't pack
Yeah,
stadium.
but I'm telling you, hey, anytime you got to go to that East Coast, they're moving a time zone.
Right.
All right, they got to go down there to to Miami. It's muggy. I mean, it's gritty and grimy and slimy down there. The weather's just different down there.
And it's gonna be a dead atmosphere.
And I'm telling you, all right, you can say what you want to about Cristobal and all the struggles and all the media stuff down there, but he's got talent down there.
He's
Okay.
getting it.
And they're going to be a talented group this year.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, if Texas A&M goes on the road and they lose that game, watch out.
Yeah.
I'm not on the train of Texas A&M. I don't care that we have to go to College Station. All right. I mean, we were absolutely depleted. Robbie couldn't even throw the football last year and we beat him. All right. And don't tell me they've gotten that much better when their so-called number one recruiting class, they were transferring day in and day out in the offseason. So don't tell me they've gotten that much better. It's a 70% chance that they beat us. I'm just not on that train. It's just, I think the national media, anytime Auburn gets some momentum, it's a kick to the nuts. I'll be honest with you. It is. It's just, you look at Auburn undefeated 2010. What come out, Dustin? What come out?
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
Yeah.
All right. It
got
comes
about 8-0, and here it went.
And here it comes. Oh man, well, hey, we can't let this happen. All right, Saban just won the national championship last year. Here, Cam Newton. All right, all this comes out. All right, then guess what? You get into 2013. What do you start hearing out of people? All right, Twitter, the media, it's everywhere. Nick Marshall. Whoa, Nick Marshall had to go to junior college because he got arrested when he was at Georgia. All right, there's just always some type of negativity.
Do you remember Thayer Evans, the writer?
Yeah.
So we got Trevon Reed, and he just goes ham for a year because there's no way Auburn, there's just no way they could have won this kid from LSU. It's impossible. They have a cheat. And he made all kind of ridiculous accusations, and then nothing ever came of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I just, I look at this and like JD Piquel over at On3, Dustin, I look at it and they're just so confident that we're going to lose to Georgia and Alabama. They're just automatically, that's 2 L's right there. I mean, they start anytime they're predicting Auburn's schedule, they're starting it off with Georgia and Alabama loss. What did I tell you the other night that was going to flip the script in recruiting?
Yeah, I can sense over talking to you over the past month that you are about fed up with that part of it. I think Blake is tired of it just being assumed that Georgia and Bama are just going to kick our ass all the time.
I'm sick of it, bro. Like I'm truly sick of it because I just think Auburn fans, there's a time, man, where you have to stop going into that mindset. And I feel like Auburn fans are in that mindset right now where they're listening to the media and they're just sitting there going, yep, they're right. They're right. We're dead. We're dead in the water when it comes to Georgia and Alabama. And you have to stop doing that. We have to go. We get both of them in Jordan-Hare. All right. There is an opportunity that you might not beat Georgia, but there's an opportunity you beat Alabama. A good opportunity, in my opinion. I think we're going to hang with them. Damn it, we took them to 4 overtimes. We took them to 4 overtimes with Brian Harsin at the helm and TJ Finley at quarterback.
Got a guy that knows how to beat their coach.
And, man, that's a hell of a point, too. That's a good one. I watched a clip on TikTok about it today. Him at Ole Miss with Chad Kelly at quarterback and all that good stuff. A guy that's going to put you in position to hang with those teams and Hugh Freeze. And that is one thing you're so right, Dustin. I'm sick of hearing. It's just every time it's Georgia and Alabama loss. And I look at guys like Perry Thompson. Everybody's looking for the bat signals, right? We hadn't even talked about that, Dustin. Auburn sends out a bat signal, and everybody's like, oh, Perry Thompson's flipping. Perry Thompson's flipping. And then silence. Nothing happens, all right? But what's truly going to get Perry Thompson to flip? On the field success. Sure. Boy, if you go in there to Jordan-Hare Stadium and you beat Georgia, Perry Thompson's going to be sitting here going, man, hey, that Peyton Thorne, that dude, he threw for 260 yards, 270. He threw for 270 on Georgia. Like he threw for 300 on Georgia, and Auburn beat Georgia. Like what?
Yeah,
I'm
Cam
telling you
Brown
what's
had 2 tutties.
and I'm telling you what's going to happen. All right, you got Coleman. All right, you got the Williams kid over at Saraland in the class of
Ryan
2025.
Williams.
Yeah, Ryan Williams. Like Perry's gonna be on the phone and he's gonna be like, "Hey, bro, like,
Mhm.
man, hey, these boys at Auburn, man, that offense is clicking, bro. Like Hugh Freeze, they throwing that thing around. All right, I'm telling you, all this stuff, bro, about Auburn's got the recruiting, man. They're on a roll. Yeah, we're on a roll, but the on field stuff is what's gonna flip it.
Yeah.
All right, so stop buying into the media, man. Just all of a sudden coming in here and every time it's Georgia and Alabama, those are automatic L's. I'm sick of that, man. I want the Auburn mindset, the fan of Auburn, uh, to change. I want it to stop. I want positivity, man. It just uh, like even I see some fans like 6-6 like this, and I'm like, no,
Mhm.
man, we got to sit here and I'm at 8-4, Dustin.
Yeah,
I'm at
I'm
eight and
around
four.
there. I'm around there.
I get fed up with it, bro.
Yeah, I feel you, and it gets to the point to where I've spoke so many times, right, about what the power of our fan base and what it can do. And like we've lost one home basketball game in 2 years.
Mhm,
You saw what it was in football last year when it didn't have to be. I mean, everyone talks about the Western or the A&M game. I was at Western Kentucky next week. It wasn't as hype because it wasn't Caddy's first home game type thing,
mhm,
but like there was way more people there with way more energy than there should have been.
mhm,
Like we we see it in baseball. We've talked to Tanner and Cooper about how much different it is for them when the crowd is involved and invested and Plainsman is packed. So to your point on that, yeah, if we all go into the stadium on those days actually believing that we have a chance to win and we cheer on the team coming from that mindset, they're going to feel the 88,000 people putting that energy on the field. It's undeniable, it's inevitable, and it will power you to play above your head and above your potential. We've seen it at Jordan Hare. We've seen it at Neville. We've seen it at Plainsman time and time and time again. So, to your point, if we show up that day as fans and say, we're going to do this shit today,
mhm,
there's a lot better chance of the team doing it on the field versus where it is right now, like you're speaking on, of
mhm.
they score a touchdown out of the gate and it's here we go, about to get kicked ass kicked again. Everybody sit down. People
Yeah,
leaving by the you get down 17-7 and people start filing out. Can't and look, man, I'm jaded too. I'm beat down too. These games hurt me too. When we get drilled, I turn off the TV and just sit on the couch for an hour. Like, oh my god, what?
mhm,
I don't know what now. I don't even want to turn back on the other games because I'm gonna see our score on the bottom.
mhm.
I get it, but you make a good point, man. And I thought about that the other day when you said it because it's like because I'm on that mindset too. I just say, man, right now we just because I'm so heavy into recruiting, I'm looking at it and I'm like the talent just doesn't match. But you make a good point, dude. We can't. That
Did
doesn't
the
give us a chance. It doesn't do us any service.
did the talent match when Hugh Freeze was at Ole Miss to
No, sir.
Alabama?
They did not. And that's you talk about the TikTok, and I saw the one going around on Twitter where he said, we're gonna lock the gate. We're
Yeah,
gonna lock the gate and we'll find out who's better today. And he
yeah.
was acknowledging they got more talent than us, but it ain't about that. And that mindset right there, that belief right there, they beat them twice in a row.
You hit the nail on the head, Dustin. My point, man. Dustin, I wanted to ask you before we wrap up and everything and get out of here. I just keep looking at the PFF, the SEC power rankings that have Auburn at 13, man. And I just keep looking at it and I'm sitting here going, so you're saying Florida is better than us. You're saying uh Missouri's better than us.
Mississippi
I mean,
State.
Mississippi State's better than us. I'm trying to go down the list here in my head, and you're saying the only team that we're better than is Vanderbilt. I mean, and it's close. It's close because some people are predicting 5-7 with Vanderbilt.
Right.
And so, I mean, do you really think Kentucky's better than us? I mean, I know they brought in the Devin Leary kid,
Right.
but I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
13th, that's a stretch, man. I'm sitting here. Missouri's better than us. With Hugh Freeze at the helm and what we brought in, Missouri's better than us. Florida, they got Wisconsin's quarterback, bro. And you're telling me, have you seen their wide receivers? Like AR was throwing to absolute bums last year, and you're telling me they're better than us?
That schedule they got, like, how many games are they gonna win?
4. Florida's going 4-8, bro. G5 Billy. Hey, look, and I know their recruiting is
it's gonna take time though.
I might give them 5 or 6. I don't know, but I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be any good. But you're telling me we're 13th in the SEC? I don't believe it. I mean, where do we sit, Dustin? To you, because I'm not.
I mean, yeah, I mean, so like teams that I feel like I know we're better than. Obviously, Vanderbilt. I feel like we're better than Arkansas. I feel like we're better than Mississippi State.
Missouri.
And Missouri. We beat Missouri last. Yeah. So right out the gate, right there, that I think we're better than all those teams. And then there's a conversation to be had with the Ole Misses, the South Carolinas. You know, we'll see how we fall in with that tier. I don't think we're going to kill it. You know, I think we're going to finish 7th to 9th in the SEC, 3rd to 4th, maybe somewhere in the division, somewhere 5th. Man, I don't know, but we're not going 5-7. We're not going to have the same record we had last year with this much of an improvement in talent, this much an improvement in the staff, and this much of an improvement in the head coach. And it's just Hugh Freeze is going to remind some people, dog. Like, that's just what this is going to be. Hugh Freeze is going to remind some people that he's a really good coach. I feel like he's such a good recruiter that people like can't deny that part of it. So then, you know, it's just hard to say he's not a good recruiter. But there's been some shade where people are trying to say that he's not a good coach. And like, I'm sorry, but the proof's in the pudding that says otherwise. He's all those things. He's a good coach. He's a good recruiter. He's hungry. He's motivated. We see that. And I think this, when I see all this stuff, kind of when you asked your question earlier about, is it this Alabama thing? I don't know. But what I will say is, like, it seems pretty consistent. And it seems like you don't like Bruce Pearl. I think we can say that. And you don't like Hugh Freeze. So I'm not sure how much love we're going to be getting as far as national media and from the NCAA or SEC or whatever it may be from within those two programs. We got some guys that have made some mistakes, but are still being judged extremely harshly off those. And I think a lot of that is this too, Blake. I think a lot of this is people that don't want to see Hugh Freeze succeed and want to get their shade in while they can get their shade in. I think there's a lot of that going on as well. And
what? Go ahead.
I'll say, like, one of the things I want to before we get done that I don't want to let go unnoticed is this year from our fan base, I see the most reasonable expectations that I've seen in a long time. Everybody, bro. Everybody's like, I'll take 7 wins and I'd love to win a bowl game for a change. Dude, I haven't met an Auburn fan yet that would be like 8-5 with the bowl win would be disappointing. I haven't heard that. Everybody's like, you do that, you know you're going to sign like a top 12 at minimum recruiting class, and the program's going that way. So, and I wanted to speak on that because these same people right here, these national media people, they're the ones that write all the crazy Auburn fan articles, right?
Yep.
The Auburn fans have the word. Auburn is where head coaches go to die.
Yep.
That, along with our evil boosters, and they kind of tie in together, is the biggest damn lie told about Auburn. It is. Tommy Tuberville got a decade. Gene Chizik got 4 years. And Gus got 9. How is this the place that coaches go to die? And Harson's season and a half was half a season too long.
Boy, you remember when I got ripped for saying he should have been fired after Penn State?
Yeah. I started
Yeah.
raising a red flag after the Connor Lew recruitment because there was
Mm-hmm.
because he was so vocal about coming to Auburn, wanting to be in the aviation program. He was crystal ball 80%, 90%, which in the recruiting industry is crazy, going to Auburn. And then all of a sudden, well, they just fumbled it at the end. They just didn't have an NIL package for him. The head coach seemed uninterested. And then what happened? Hugh Freeze ends up getting hired, and within 4 or 5 days, hitting up Connor Lew, and because he wanted to come to Auburn the whole time, he just needed a competent head coach.
Yep.
So it's just kind of one of them things, man. But it's all gravy, baby. Because I'm an old school Auburn fan, and I remember 2003. The same magazine I talked about, Athlon, in 2003, guess who they had predicted to win the national championship? And there was no reason that team shouldn't have. You could argue the 03 team was more talented than the 04 team. There's some guys that graduated, Dontarius Thomas. There's some guys that graduated in the 03 squad that if they had been on that 04 team, oh, buddy, Brandon Jacobs was the third string running back on that 03 squad. That's how bad that team was. But they went, I'm saying bad to the bone, but they were bad too because they went 7-5. But they're like, that year was supposed to be the national championship year. And then the next year when we started off 24th, 25th, that was the year. So I'm all for it, dude, because every time, what was 2014, what was Jeremy Johnson's starting year?
2015.
Yeah, big expectations. Where did it go? 2014 as well, big expectations. Where did it go? So as an Auburn fan, I look at this and I just say, cool, because I know when Auburn's at its best and that's when it's doubted. And this is bulletin board material. Just a little bit we know about Hugh Freeze, and I'll say it again, man. He's all shucks in front of the camera. I guarantee you, behind closed doors, this right here is getting talked about. Talked about. And you got a hungry locker room and a hungry head coach and a hungry fan base. All these three things combined right here, we ain't going 5-7. ESPN don't know Auburn. ESPN's never known Auburn, bro.
Agree 100%, Dustin. I don't think we're going 5-7. I don't think we're going 6-6. I can see 7-5, but I honestly, truly see 8-4 and 9. If you get to 9-4, as an Auburn fan, you have to just be through the roof ecstatic. All right. Especially if you are, let's just say you're 7-4 going into the Iron Bowl and you pick up that 8th win against Alabama. All right. And then you turn around and win a bowl game. Let's talk about momentum there, Dustin. I mean, you got to be through the roof, right? Now, I don't want one of those losses to be to Ole Miss, but that one would stick for a little while. But just wrapping it up, man, I just don't think that's in the cards for Auburn. I think they added too much talent. I think with their head coaching, the schemes and just the way he can look, he took liberty to Arkansas last year and they worked them. All right. So he knows how to outcoach you. He knows how to out scheme you. He knows, the best possible way to put his players in a position to win. So that is why I think Auburn has more than 5, 6, hopefully more than 7 dubs in the tank for him this year. So, Dustin, getting out of here, wrapping this thing up. I know I always want to leave you with your final thoughts, man. What do you got for us tonight?
Yeah, just stay tuned, man. Just stay tuned. Big announcement coming soon. A lot of cool things on the horizon for this podcast. Tell your friends, subscribe, share this out on social media, man. Let everybody know we're coming to do big things, baby. And I'm excited to do it with you, brother.
Yeah, man. Can't wait. The future's bright. And we're excited here at the Uptempo Podcast. It's going to be a fun ride and a lot of work getting cut out for us. So, but we're ready for the challenge. So we appreciate each and every one of you for listening. Go over to Apple, YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You know what to do. Leave us some comments on the YouTube channel and interact with us. And we'd love to interact back. And if you got a question, drop it in there. We will answer it on our next episode. No matter what we're talking about, we will get your question on air with us. So we appreciate you guys, and we will be back for another one. But we are out. War damn Eagle.
War damn.